Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force and today we will be checking out Crypt of the NecroDancer. This is a roguelike rhythm game. Now before you shut off the video, listen, I am not a fan of rhythm games. I just typically, not that I'm not a fan of them, but they're not a genre that I typically play. But this game is a heck of a lot of fun. So I want to show you some gameplay today, talk with you a bit about the game. This is a post-commentary video, so I'm not actually playing right now. I started to try to record playing while talking. No, it did not work because I cannot keep the beat. So this is how the game works. It works as a roguelike with procedurally generated elements. The level layout and loot and enemies are going to be different with every run. But it's also got the rhythm element in that we have this music in the background that's going to a beat. Now if you notice on the bottom of the screen, there's that little heartbeat ticker, and every time those lines get in to hit the heart, that is when you can perform an action. Now those actions include moving, attacking, digging, purchasing things, opening things. You can only actually perform any of those objectives on a beat. So it really requires full focus and attention to make sure you're hitting the beat. Now, the beat will change too. There's a few different variables. There are switches within a individual map that can cause the beat to change. There's also the different levels are gonna have a different beat. So once we go to the next section, we're on the first level, the first zone right now. Once we go to the second level, there's gonna be a different beat, a different tune, and a new cadence in which we can move. So you can notice here, this one's a little bit faster than before. Now I'm going to start explaining sort of what we're looking at here. So each of the different enemy types have a distinct moving pattern. Like the bats sort of move all over the place. And well, let's just talk about them once we get up to them. I'm just sort of digging through right now, checking these things. Now you notice the ground goes all techno-y here. That means that I've been consistently hitting the beat, and that means I have a coin multiplier. So when I kill things, I'm gonna get more currency from it. The ghost will follow you when you're not looking. The yellow guys will move in a square. The green guy sits still. These yellow skeletons will chase you to a beat. I think they move on every other beat. And they do their little shimmy and then they move forward. And you just basically have to make sure that you're hitting an enemy when they're not moving, because if you try to move to the same square that an enemy's moving into at the same time as they are, they're gonna get an attack on you. Now there are also different weapon types, and the different weapon types do different things. So right now I've got a spear which will attack 2 blocks ahead of me. And I just picked up a golden rapier. Now the golden rapier will also attack 2 blocks ahead of you, but this one will charge you forward if you get a kill. I was just swapping out rings there. There was the ring of gold, and I believe the other one, I forget what the other one's called, but I think it's the ring that lets you purchase things for less from vendors, essentially. I just ate a block of cheese there, so you'll pick up various items and you'll have to hit like up down or up left or left right in order to activate them. It'll always tell you what to do. So yeah, we've got the golden rapier, so you'll notice when I kill something, I actually will dash forward a square. So it's sort of like the spear, except it's also got a little bit of extra movement for you, which is actually really nice. I really like this. This might be one of my favorite weapons. Well, my favorite weapon actually is the blunderbuss, but it's a rare weapon, and I doubt we're actually going to get to take a look at it here. So just sort of move into the beat, go into the next level. We are now on level 3, and you basically go deeper and deeper into these dungeons until you fight a boss. Now this is the shopkeeper. You've seen me go to it a few times. They'll have a random set of items. So I just replaced my gi with some leather. I also replaced my golden rapier with I believe this is a platinum one. So this one is supposed to do more damage, but the other one gives me more gold when I kill things. But I already have the golden ring, so I figure I'm getting extra gold from that. I sort of rather have the extra damage. And I notice in there, I currently have the monocle, which will let me see secrets in an area, and the weapon in there is just one that I don't want. Same thing with this sword that's down here. I prefer the weapon that I have at the moment, so I'm basically just going to ignore that. And here's a red dragon. The red dragon will fire death straight ahead, so you have to make sure that you're not lined up with him there. And you sort of have to move, yeah, I sort of have to move like in a cadence. I did get hit by that, but if you time it properly, you can make sure you don't get hit. And there's a variety of enemy types in all the different zones. So we're in the first zone. The second zone is like a forest zone with a completely different set of enemies that have different movement and attack patterns. And basically what I found is that the more I've played it, once you learn the different enemy types and how they move, it makes it much easier to play the game, because it's really all about predicting the enemy's movement and making sure that on a beat you can hit them and not get hit yourself. I mean, I've taken a bit of damage here. You can see I hardly have any hearts left, but the great thing is that the weapon that I have right now, with the extra damage that it does, I'm one-shotting a lot of enemies that would typically take 2 or 3 shots if I just had the dagger, or if I just had a sort of a normal damage attacking weapon. So we've got a diamond over there. Did I actually miss that? I think I did. I was not paying attention during the run. That's very unfortunate. It's just, I gotta say, man, again, I am not typically a fan of rhythm games. I didn't care for Guitar Hero when all my friends in college were playing it. It's just not something that I typically care for, but this is just a lot of fun. So you can see me getting used to the beat right here. We're in a boss fight right now. I get completely worked. I thought that thing was his face. It took me a little bit to realize that that was his shield. When I read this, it says blocked with a shield, I assumed for some reason that it just meant, oh, maybe I have to kill more of these bats. And then I eventually realized, okay, so I need to attack him from the side. But by the time I figured that out, it was too late, because I ended up dying right there. So the bat was trying to move into the same square I did, and as a result, I died. You'll notice the tempo here, the cadence for this level, much quicker than the other levels. At being a boss fight, they make the beats a little bit different. So here we are in the main lobby. I just wanted to show you this. This is where, this spot here, you can buy permanent upgrades. So I was able to purchase additional coin modifiers and more health. You normally start off with just 2 health bars. In this spot, you can purchase weapons that will spawn in chests. So you basically use these diamonds, which is a form of currency that lets you get these things for your runs. Here, this is a guy who lets you train against certain enemy types, so you can basically practice your skills. If you're having trouble with the movement or attack patterns of a certain type of enemy, you can practice. So you notice the first time I'm like, oh, okay, I wasn't really figuring out that black skeleton, but then I get used to it, and then I move with him, attack, and then once his head falls off, he runs in a straight line, and then I did it again, move, attack, and then chase him down when his head's off and finish him off. And for some reason right here, even though I figured out the attack patterns, I ended up dying anyways. That was just me being an idiot. But it's very cool. You can go there, you can practice against the different enemies for all the different zones. Over here, there is a boss trainer, so you can spend some of your diamonds to practice against the bosses. So these will be the bosses for the end of each of the zones. So moving from zone 1 to 2, from zone 2 to 3, you can get a bit of practice over there before you actually go and attempt to do the boss. And then there's finally, you get some magic stuff over here. So on the left-hand side, you could purchase weapons from chest. Over there, you can purchase different scrolls and buffs and stuff like that. All right, but let's hop back into the very first zone. I'm showing you this a second time just to show you sort of the roguelike procedural generation. You'll notice that the layout is very different. The shop location, the enemy types, everything. It changes every single run. So that keeps things really interesting, and it makes it so that I'm not trying to memorize the levels, but I'm trying to memorize, again, all of the enemy types and the way they move. Cool little thing here in the shop, if you've got a bomb, which you always start off with one, you can blow up the corner to get a bunch of gold there. You can also use the bombs to fight against enemies. There's different scrolls, like there's a fire scroll, which will do a huge fire wave to the left and right of you, killing any enemies within a line. There's all sorts of different things besides just the basic weapon attacks as well. Although we're not going to get a good look at that here in this video, I'll tell you, I'm having so much fun playing this game. It's just so, it's really so addicting. Like, because it's skill-based, and it's also that combination of the dungeon crawly thing that, you know, I really like that. If you've been following me for any length of time, you'll know I am all about just RPG, like dungeons, magic, fun stuff like that. So this is a skill-based roguelike game that has those elements of monsters and magic and stuff that I really love, and I just find myself wanting to keep playing it. I spent a couple of hours this afternoon just goofing off, and I was like, oh, I should probably get to work and make some videos. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? So yeah, you might be seeing some more of Crypt of the Necromancer from me, just because So far I've been finding it that fun, that enjoyable. I also streamed it a little bit last night, so you could take a look at that. That should be up in the Twitch archives, but this beat's a little bit quicker. So you notice me hopping around at the beginning just to sort of get accustomed to it so I can know, okay, what's my movement speed, what's my attack speed, all of that. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say. First of all, I do want to apologize if I potentially blundered some details about certain maybe weapons or certain abilities. I am still learning the game. There's a whole bunch of different weapons. There's also different levels of weapons. So there are weapons that will heal you after you get a certain number of kills. There are weapons that will return gold. There are glass weapons that do a ton of damage but will break. There are like obsidian weapons which will charge up and get more powerful the longer you go along. There's so many different things, so many different weapon types, and then different grades of those weapons that I'm just sort of learning as I go here. So again, yes, forgive me if I may have made a mistake. And there's an attacking chest, but he gave me a bright torch, which lets me see a ton of the area around me, which is a great way to spot secret locations if you don't have a map or a monocle or anything. So yeah, that's gonna do it, guys. Thanks so much for joining me, checking out a little bit of Crypt of the NecroDancer. It is available through Steam's Early Access, so it's not a complete game. Do need to let you know, if you're considering picking it up, realize it's not finished right now, but I'm digging what I've seen so far. So guys, yeah, that's all there is to say. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll leave you with a bit more tunes, even though this means the video is probably gonna get hit with a copyright claim just because YouTube loves to do it. I think the music is that ballin' that I don't care. So enjoy the music, and I'll see you guys later.